Good morning, everyone. Talma Kriya. Good evening, everyone. Kay Karaya. Seneko Kakona. Many blessings to you. And namaste. Welcome to week 5. Raise your self-worth. Raise your net worth. If you dwell within abundance, you will have abundance. By Marianne Williamson. Just a side note, she's also running to be the Democratic candidate as president for the 2024 election. Let's make sure the pages are good. Each of us has our own individual relationship to money. Okay, sorry about that. Each of us have our own individual relationship to money. It starts at a young age. At that time, we pick up financial blueprint that affects us in many unique ways. Some people have grown to believe in lack and therefore never feel they have enough. Others may have grown up to believe in abundance, and as a result, money flows to them freely. But regardless of our financial background, for many folks, fear shows up in some ways when it comes to money. So as we were talking about in the other chapters, when we were working on ourselves, working on what's going on in our minds, developing a loving relationship with us, then understanding, we just finished understanding and loving relationships to others. When fear drives the bus, we get distracted, we get clouded, our vision is not clear. When love drives the bus, fear can be seen, anger can be seen, guilt can be seen, all the other emotions can be seen and understood a little bit clearly. But when anger, fear, guilt, shame, when they become the drivers of the bus, our vision becomes cloudy. It happens the same with money. It's the same thing. Also, we develop implicit memories and implicit messages from our caregivers from when we were first born. And as we grow up and walk around this path on this school called Earth, the planet Earth, as we have our human experience, we have unheard messages. Well, they're heard within us, but they're unsaid, I should say. Unsaid messages. We receive unsaid messages and impressions about certain topics: love, relationships, self-esteem, body issues, body images, how to react in society by others. And then we allow ourselves to develop adaptation to try to see if we can continue on with this path. With those adaptations and those implicit messages helping us along the way. So this May Cause Miracles book is to help us change the mindset that we currently have that may not be working for us at this current moment in time, to lead us onto the path of abundance, grace, forgiveness, love, etc. Okay, let's go back to the book. I grew up in an affluent town, but my family wasn't nearly as wealthy as those in the community, which made me feel like an outsider. Though my parents both worked hard, there was always a mentality of lack in my home. Money was a big constant concern. As a young girl, I got hooked into my parents' lack mentality. And I still struggle with that mentality in some ways today. When I buy something new, I often feel guilty because deep in the back of my mind linger the old memories of not having enough. I also have a hard time receiving gifts because while I was growing up, I never wanted my parents to spend money that they didn't have. Both these issues are related to the financial story I learned as a kid. Though remnants of my lack-minded upbringing persist, I am proud to say I have essentially transformed my ego's financial fear, and today am abundantly minded. When I was 21, I made a commitment to myself that I would never fear not having enough money. I work to disassociate with my financial fears and instead choose abundance. This decision to transcend my lack mentality has majorly boosted my relationship to money. So we're still working with relationships, no matter what the topic is, whether it's ourselves, with our body, with our mind, with others, and the sense of money. It's all a relationship. We're learning how to develop a loving, communicative relationship with all of the topics meant and written in this book. And in life, in this world, having a loving relationship with the planet, having a loving relationship with food, having a loving relationship with your body, having a loving relationship with your mind, with your inner energy, your spirit, your sense of who you are, developing a loving relationship with the memories and the implicit messages you received as a child and how they may conflict with you now as an adult, and what messages that were possibly forgotten about universal love as a child, like sharing and stranger danger, but to be able to provide discernment, but at the same time, not everyone's your enemy. Be nice. Some of the rules we've learned in nursery school, to be kind and to share, keep our hands to ourselves, use our words, things like that, to allow the implicit messages that speak of love step forward versus allowing the implicit messages of fear to drive the bus and drive along the path. Through my spiritual practice, I've come to understand that when you value money as an indicator of status and self-worth, then that's a sure sign your ego has intervened. The ego uses money to seek fulfillment, much in the same way it uses relationships to seek fulfillment. The ego convinces you to believe that accumulating a certain amount of money can be your source of completion, regardless of how much you have. This ego mentality supports an addictive, controlling relationship to money that will lead you to feel as though you'll never have enough. Each time your earning capacity hits a new level, you'll go right back to striving for more. This is a wicked cycle. As I mentioned before, when we were talking about yoga therapy, there's a cycle. You start your tapas, which is your routine, your disciplines, the things that help you to better yourself. Then from that, you turn into svadhyaya, which is spiritual questions, spiritual growth, such as the journey that we've been doing for the past couple of days. The questions of those universal questions of, so what am I hearing about this? How does this affect me? How does this affect my life? How does this affect my mindset? Stuff like that. And then you go to ishvara which is the sense of, completion, my aha moment. Now that makes sense. That missing piece that we've been waiting for in the cycle. And then we go to another dive and another dive and another dive. And then the cycle starts again, the tapas, the svadhyaya, the Ishwarpranidhan, and it keeps going and going and going. I know I'm using some yoga words here. It's just a journey. So whenever you start a new concept, a new mindset shift, like we've been doing lately. As I said, when I first read this book, I was in a very dark and a very raw space. And as I reread this book with you, I am not in that same space. So I have started tapas. I have started introducing things into my daily life to help me regulate my nervous system in a better way. So I learned tools to help me to be discerning with my friends, with my family, setting boundaries, allowing myself to know how to use my words and communicate displeasure, discontent, and miscommunication, love, such and etc. I introduce more things to help my body love itself more, such as yoga, meditation, Pilates, good food, checking in with the doctor more, acupuncture, etc. Things that will help encourage my body to live with vitality versus in lack and abundance. And then I surrounded myself and continued to study with individuals that were looking for similar things, such as a healing journey, a healing progress. So I continued my yoga journey. I continued learning more things about my fitness career and wellness career, etc., etc. So then I started realizing, oh, wait a minute. Oh, forgiveness. I get it. Now I understand what forgiveness is. And then I'm in a nice place of, oh, I'm not that person anymore. And then the cycle continues of healing, of journey. So you're usually not in the same space, mental space, that you were yesterday, a month before, 2 years before that. Does that make sense? So there are cycles in this world. There's a cycle of fear, going down that spiral, going down that rabbit hole. Okay. And there's a cycle of abundance too, of release, of love. Okay, let's go back to the book. Alternatively, when you value money as a source of creating, serving, and enjoying the gifts of life, you have a much different energetic connection to your finances. Everything is energy. When I was 21, I was able to release my attachment to my family's lack. But I still closely associated money with my self-image. For instance, for years, I equated my personal worth with my financial worth. This way of being was directly related to my ego's fear of financial insecurity, the fear that I picked up from my parents. In my case, the ego had convinced me that money equaled power and self-worth. As financial abundance came into my life, I experienced fleeting moments of excitement, followed by a sense that something was missing. Why didn't these financial milestones make me feel any different? Why, after earning more, did I still even want more? By the time I was 29, I experienced another quantum shift about money. So she's going through her own cycle. As a self-reflected spirit junkie, I accepted the cold hard truth. Money was not the key to self-worth and happiness. My spiritual awareness helped me recognize that money, much like drugs, alcohol, sex, romance, and food, can become addictive when used as a source of happiness. So the path of happiness is internal, not external. That was something we learned in the previous weeks, if we remember. When we seek things externally outside of our bodies, it may not fill the certain holes that we are experiencing within. When we discover what those holes are within, we can have conversations with them and find the solution within us to feel the completion of happiness. When we seek anything external, whether it's a outside relationship with another person or with anything externally, it may not fill the hole that we have internally. We must look within. And peace and anything outside ourselves, we inevitably feel unfilled and stuck. See, it's the same thing I was just saying. Upon accepting this, I did what any miracle worker would do. I chose a new perspective. It's just a matter of us shifting our mindset. Through my spiritual practice, I created a belief system around the value of $1. This work greatly served my relationship to money, as well as my earning capacity. I shifted my forgiveness from needing money for my self-worth to wanting money to support my great work. In addition, I let go of my fear of spending and accepted that a huge part of manifesting financial abundance was to enjoy the gifts life had to offer. Finally, I consciously began to give more by donating money to charitable organizations and spiritual centers, and focusing on new ways to employ people in my business. This shift guided me to accept money as a resource to do creative, service-minded work and share more love with the world. Excuse me, I'm going to drink some water. Water. This week's exercises offer you an opportunity to take inventory of how you value money and create a quantum shift of your own. I'll guide you to look closely at how your ego has placed fear-minded value on your finances. As you pay attention to your ego, you'll uncover thoughts and patterns you never knew were there. How could you? The world has placed such a huge emphasis on our earning capacity that we're all bound to get caught up in the ego's grasp. Now is your time to get out. This week, you'll move through the process of unlearning your ego's money fear. Get ready, because this work will be wildly transformational. Hopefully the past couple of weeks have been transformational for us with our different mindsets. But this week, let's see how it's going to get even more transformational. And if you take it seriously, it will have a huge impact on your relationship to money and your bank account. Before we begin the week's work of undoing the ego's fear-based perceptions, let's zero in on its trick to help you become the witness of your financial fears. I've outlined several ways the ego uses money as a vehicle for keeping you in the dark or keeping you stuck. The ego blocks abundance in many ways. If you want to clear those blocks, you first have to become conscious of them. We can't heal ourselves if we don't know what's missing. Get honest with yourself and identify whether one or more of these ego tricks have blocked your financial freedom. Okay, let's dive in. The ego has a lack mentality. Particularly in tough economic times, the ego will rev up its game. It busts out thoughts like, I can't possibly get a raise in a recession, or I'll never have enough money, or I will never afford it. The ego has millions of ways to fuel our lack mentality. The more we think in this way, the more we live in fear of not having enough. It's a dizzying circle. See what I said? Life is a cycle. Life is a cycle. It's a circle. Remember that our thoughts inform our experiences. So, know that a lack mentality mirrors a lacking bank account. I do believe that Henry Ford once says, if you believe it to be so, then it is. If you think you're wrong, then you're wrong. If you think you're bad, then you are. Does that make sense? If you believe it to be so, then it's so. I will look up his exact quote and put it on the description. The ego believes that passion has no purpose when it comes to making money. An ego mentality suggests that we must take practical action to make money. It convinces us that we can't have it both ways when it comes to earning. We can either do what we love or we can make money. The ego reserves creativity and passions for hobbies, or it projects it onto the select few who get lucky enough to be financially successful with their passion work. I see this ego mentality come up a lot with my artist friends who live in fear of never earning money from their art and in effect blocking any chance of doing so. I also see it in my healer friends who believe that doing altruistic work means they'll never be well compensated. The inner dialogue of I can't make money doing what I love is a major ego block. I understand that this is a deep-rooted fear that affects many people. But as miracle workers, we must begin to transcend this belief. When more and more people believe in abundance, more abundance will flow. We must take this very seriously and work together to create this shift. If we believe in lack, and lack is the norm for a society, lack is what the society will get. If the society believes in abundance, there's always enough for everyone. It's a shift. This reminds me of that CEO that gave up his $1 million bonus and gave all of his employees a raise. And everyone is living a sustainable life. They all are. He was able to spread his wealth. And not only did he get richer in the process, his company is very successful, but the lives of his employees as well as his own is richer intrinsically. I'll see if I can find his story and put it into the description as well. It's possible. It just seems improbable. It's very possible. The ego has a get mentality rather than a give mentality. When we're ego-minded with money, we believe we need to get more to be happy. Our peace and salvation has a dollar amount. Giving can often become an afterthought when getting is the primary function. The Course teaches to have, give all to all. This concept is confusing to the ego, but throughout your miracle-minded practice, you'll gain real clarity around the true purpose of giving. The ego creates addictive patterns around money. I've witnessed many friends struggle with money addiction, gambling addiction, and debt addiction. In many ways, we can become powerless over money, which can affect every corner of our life. The belief that a certain amount of money will fix the problem is never the solution. A full-blown mental transformation is required to get out of the ego's addictive spiral. The ego emphasizes the external power of money. The power the ego gives to money is seriously damaging to us. Whenever we place power in something outside of ourselves, it's a sure sign we've aligned with the ego. If perceived wrongly, money can feel like our source of safety, security, happiness, and peace. Those are our goals. Those are all root chakra goals. Is our safety, our security, so we may be happy and live peaceful lives. That's our basic necessity. If we tie it up with external things, we may never really feel these things truly. In essence, money replaces love. When we give money this power, we're projecting one of the ego's fear perceptions onto the world, thereby living in a constant state of needing more to feel complete. The goal of this week is to find that completeness in love and faith instead of money. And you can replace faith with trust. Can you trust yourself? Can you trust the universe to have your back? The ego uses money to deepen your belief in separation. Money becomes a status symbol to the ego, which equates wealthy people as happy people and emphasizes the importance of external power. Because the ego thrives on separation, it uses money to further disconnect you from others. If you have money, the ego makes you more special, and if you don't, it makes you less special. Have you seen celebrities that you have admired and then they passed away because they were unhappy with the money, and you've wondered, well, they had all that money, they seemed happy. The happiness was reliant on the external factors. So they always had to work and obtain those external factors to feel that happiness within, when the answer was within. Now, that doesn't mean that money is an evil thing. I'm quite sure that's what she's not saying here. But the message throughout this book has been the same. Love is within. Love is universal. You're a part of the universe. You are a part of it. We all are. Everything on this planet is a part of the universe. The planet is the part of the universe. It's so much bigger than ourselves. We are all one. And when we see ourselves as all one, as energetic beings, we don't have to approve of each other's actions. We don't even have to like each other. But we can all recognize that we are one. And it's when that separation occurs that the vicious cycle of fear steps in. The ego is uncreative when it comes to money. Ego convinces us to think in linear, limited ways, focusing on manipulative action to get more. But your inner guide, your ing, is creative and will always lead you to innovative solutions. There have been many times in my life when I wasn't sure how I would pay the bills. My ego mind never had a good solution. In fact, my ego just made the problem worse. But when I turned inward to ask my ing for help, I was always guided to a miraculous solution. See, the answers are always within. We just need to connect. There's never enough for the ego. Even if you've achieved financial abundance, the ego acts out in plenty of ways. One in particular is the never enough mentality. Doesn't that work in all aspects of life? I'm never enough. I'm either never enough, I'm too much. I'm in the wrong field. I'm here, I'm there, I'm this, I'm that. We separate ourselves with anxiety, with depression, and we stay stuck in that cycle instead of allowing love to step in and say, I am not my depression. I am feeling depressed right now. I am not my anxiety. I am just feeling anxious right now. I am not broken. I am not broke. I am feeling a lack of money right now. Something like that. We're detaching our identity from that. When you say the word I am, you're identifying yourself as it. If you feel it, it's a feeling. Even if you've achieved financial abundance, the ego acts out in plenty of ways. The never enough mentality. Even once the ego achieves a certain goal, it always needs more. From a spiritual perspective, when we recalibrate our trust, the universe will provide for us. But the ego thinks quite the opposite. We've pushed to strive for more and never believe we have enough. I'm confident that these ego projections resonate with you in multiple ways. And keep in mind, they're just a few of the many ways the ego blocks your abundance. This week's work is dedicated to using subtle shifts to create powerful change in this area of your life. Looking at how the ego has created a fearful financial blueprint can be overwhelming. I said it whispering, but it is. It's overwhelming. In the midst of trying to pay your bills and keep your career in motion, a spiritual practice may seem like this is just too much work. Regardless of what you have going on in your career right now, trust that it is the perfect assignment for your spiritual growth. Trust that it is what it is to help you to get to the next journey. So let's say you are working in a fast food joint and this is not your passion. This is not what you want to do. You're doing it to pay the bills. You're doing it to do what? It's just the first step of learning customer service, of learning what you appreciate doing and what you don't like doing, is learning how the food industry works, is learning how the cleanliness of the food industry is, how to deal with money, how to interact with others that may or may not be friendly, how to interact with others of different cultures, with different languages, with different adaptations, etc., etc. Learning those particular skills may open up the door for the next career that you're going into, which is possibly being a human resource manager, or things like that. Does that make sense? Is thinking that you are in the right place for a right assignment for something later. It's going to help you grow. Wherever you are, whatever position you're doing, it's helping you to grow and develop skills, develop tools, practice tools that will make you a better individual. All right, let's go back. And I got super groovy news for you. Oh, thank goodness. For this week, you can take your energy off the to-do list, the debt, and the bills. For 1 week, make the commitment to put your practice first and treat it like a full-time job. Ooh, boy. Go about your routine, but in your mind, put this work first. Show up for the assignment with your full spirit and trust that when you awaken, your internal abundance, your external abundance will be reflected. The mindfulness worker, or the miracle worker practice, is your full-time job, which it is for me. And I have such the great pleasure of reading this book with you. So thank you for the opportunity again. You're hired. Now get to work. Here's what you can look forward to this week. So today's day 29. Welcome to day 29. You'll be guided to witness your financial fears. The exercises will help you identify the financial story your ego created. By acknowledging the story behind your financial fear, you'll begin the process of disassociating with it. Remember that we must witness our fear to begin the process of a beautiful mindfulness change. Tomorrow, day 30, will help you become willing to surrender your financial fears. That's the hard part. This day is very powerful, a crucial step to becoming an abundant mindfulness worker. Each exercise will lead you to surrender to your inner guide and admit to the ways your life has become unmanageable due to your ego's fear. Honoring this unmanageability will help lead you out of any addictive patterns with money and set you up for a new financial blueprint. Day 31 is geared toward a financial shift. The most effective and exciting way to kick your financial fears is to begin a new inner dialogue. It's changing our narrative, something that we've been trying to do for the past couple of weeks with different topics based on our bodies, our mind, our connection with our implicit messages, our fear, our guilt, shame, all of the relationships, even others. We've been trying to change the narrative, and we're going to do the same with money today. Well, this week. The work this week will help you shift the internal and external conversation about money. If you're walking around thinking and saying you're broke, you will be broke because you're identifying yourself as broke versus I am feeling lack right now. The exercises on day 31 will empower you to change your inner dialogue and reclaim your financial trust and spiritual power to attract abundance, or metaphysical power. I'm going to see if I can change that spiritual and metaphysical to help those that may get triggered by that word. Day 32 guides you to understand how gratitude creates abundance. When you're grateful for what you have, you create more of what you want. This day's exercise will guide you to focus on the abundance in your life. Even the simple things such as a warm meal or $100 in your savings account, or maybe 50 cents or $1. Feeling grateful for what you have helps you respect your finances. When you can respect what you get, you gain more. Day 33, we work on forgiveness around your finances. Fear of finance stems from past experience, and forgiveness is the way to undo the past and start fresh in the present. The exercises on day 33 will help you forgive your family, your past employers, and yourself Remember, forgiveness is a gift for you, not necessarily for them. You don't have to interact with any of the individuals that you are forgiving if they broke a trust bond, or if they did anything illegal to you or extra harmful to you. You can protect your space and your energy by forgiving them from afar. You never, ever, ever have to approach someone to forgive them. Forgiveness is a gift for you, to allow you to let go of the attachments of that person changing, or any honorable thing that they the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. If they're in jail, thank you. If justice caught up to them, wonderful. If they did something harmful that they can't go to jail for, or whatever, that doesn't mean that you have to invite them back if that trust bond is broken. Trust is still earned. Forgiveness is yours. I can't emphasize that enough, because I know forgiveness is a very hard topic for everyone. Actually, forgiveness is a hard topic for most of the individuals I have met. I'm not going to say it's for everyone, because I've learned what forgiveness truly means. So I don't want to put a blanket statement where one is not deserved in, if that makes sense. You'll be guided to release the patterns through the practice of forgiveness. So forgiveness is just those scissors that help us to detach. That's it. We're not chained to the reactions anymore. Day 34 is dedicated to money and miracles. The exercises throughout this day will help you blast open your creative mind. You'll be guided to surrender your financial fears to your inner guide and release the blocks to your creative capacity to experience miracles. And then on day 35, that's our review time. We just get to review everything that we've done and prepare for the last week. Oh my gosh, we're almost finished with this. Are you committed to releasing your fears and creating a new financial blueprint? Then, my friend, drum roll please, this week's exercises will guide you to experience a quantum shift. The massive shift doesn't require years of practice if you're willing to surrender your fears. For the sake of your serenity and to help support our economy, we all must commit to the shift. Let the abundance set in. Okay, everyone, that was a lot to digest again, so take deep breaths. Calm it out, shake up that vagus nerve so that way whatever was stuck can be lifted up, and you can exhale it out. And then I will do another reading in the next couple of hours for day 29 to start the process for this week, for week 5. And until then, my friends, I'm sending you much love.